The prosecution presented witness and evidence to show that Robert Kelly ran an enterprise of assistants, bodyguards, and others, all used to target, groom, and exploit girls, boys, and young women for his own sexual gratification. Joining us this morning is attorney Gerald Griggs, as he represents the family of Jocelyn Savage, who met R. Kelly at a concert in Atlanta several years ago before forming a long-term relationship with him. We got attorney Griggs. Good morning.
Good morning, Rickey. How you doing?
Man, I'm doing good this morning. I hit you up during that verdict yesterday, and R. Kelly has now been found guilty of 9 charges, including racketeering and 8 violations of a Mann Act involving 2 women. Can you break down what all that means, and what is he going to be facing for sentencing?
Definitely. And basically what happened was Mr. Kelly's been on trial for the last 4.5 weeks in the Eastern District of New York, charged with numerous counts, 9 of which he was convicted of racketeering and then the enticing of minors in violation of the Mann Act. And so he's facing between 10 years to life imprisonment. And this is all because of the strength of the survivors that came forward, families and activists who have been pushing this case for so many years. Rick, we talked about this several years ago. This has been an ongoing battle to bring him to justice. And ultimately, the jury, because of the work of prosecutors in the Eastern District of New York and Homeland Security, were able to secure a conviction because they listened to the voices of the survivors.
Oh, wow.
Attorney Griggs, I have a question. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you doing?
That's good. I'm blessed. Well, I wanted to know, have you or Jocelyn Savage's parents spoken with her since yesterday's guilty verdict, and is she okay, and where is she now?
We haven't spoken with her since the verdict. We spoke to her briefly about a month ago, and they're still in the process of trying to reunite with her. We are concerned. We are hopeful that she will come home. They are still ready, willing, and able to love her as they have her entire life, and they want her to come home. So we're hopeful that we will hear from her, and they will be able to reunite.
Attorney Griggs, do you think that he brainwashed her?
We think that there's been severe abuse of all of these survivors, and of course we heard the evidence, so we are concerned about what we heard from other survivors who were with her during the course of this time. So we are definitely concerned, and we believe that there has been some amount of psychological damage done.
And the last question I have, the sentencing is in May. With everything he was convicted of in the court of law on yesterday, if you had to guess as an attorney, how many years you think he's facing? And what do you think he'll probably get being in, because sometimes, where the trial's at matters because they're more conservative in the South. The trial was in New York. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are he faces a lot of exposure, between 10 years to life in prison. Because of his lack of any substantial criminal history before this conviction, he will probably grid a little bit lower. So he's probably looking at between 10 to 20 years in prison, somewhere in that range. But the survivors are asking for maximum time. The families that have been affected are asking for maximum time. But ultimately, it'll be up to Judge Donnelly and following the sentencing guidelines in the federal court.
All right. One more question. He has 2 more trials, right? So what if he get convicted?
3 more.
3 more. So if he
yes.
be found guilty in all 3 of those, what do you think, if you had to guess, if he get found guilty in all of those years add up, if you had to guess?
If I had to guess and he goes to trial on the other 3 cases, I think he's facing the rest of his life in prison. This case was the first case. The second case, which is the Northern District of Illinois, is a much stronger case. This case was strong. And so I think that he has some real considerations to take about whether he wants to risk it again. But the survivors and the victims and the families are resolute to continue to pursue justice, and they want their voices heard just like they were heard in the case in the Eastern District of New York.
All right, hold on. Don't hang up, Attorney Griggs. Let's go to the phones. Good morning.
I think that he got exactly what he deserves. I know some people are saying that the mom should be locked up too, but the reality is he's a predator. So he was going to find the victim. If they weren't willing, he probably would have started, forcing himself on people.
I'm so glad that he was arrested and charged, and I will not be listening to his music. And I think everybody else in his entourage knew what was going on. needs to be arrested and charged as well.
Yes, not only would I listen to his music, I will buy his music because I'm supporting his craft. He's a musical genius, and we all know that R. Kelly get the party going with his music. Yes, I will still buy R. Kelly's music and listen to it.
Man, I think he finished, but I'm still going to listen to his music. And where are the accomplices that was with him?
I mean, we enjoyed his music before we even knew anything about this. So why would you people just think about what he's had in his past? I mean, his music was good then, and why wouldn't it be good now?
So, go ahead, Gary.
You know what, Attorney Griggs, and that's what I was about to ask about. Now, why some people, can they not separate the artist from the crime of his music? Should we stop listening to the music because he's convicted?
Well, I think that's a personal choice. Myself, I've stopped listening a long time ago because his music outlined what he was doing, both in the past and was currently doing up until he was incarcerated. So I do understand people have personal choices, but this is about listening to the voices of the survivors that has now been proven in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt.
I got one for all of y'all that just called in talking about the music. So you go to a restaurant and they call you a nigger, but the food is good. Okay?
Wow.
The food is good. Now, what does the food have to do with the waitress and the owner calling you a nigger? Right? Okay? So don't get mad when you go through something like that and say don't eat here because they're racist. Right? Right? The food good. The mashed potatoes was on point with the gravy on there, and it, damn good when they cut them onions and put that cube steak on top of the potato. The food is so damn good. Cornbread got butter on. The food is good, right?
So what if they
but they seat black people in the back,
right?
And they call you the N word. So are you eating that? Go to hell. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Go to hell.
Message.
You're hypocrites. Don't go to hell. You're hypocrites. And let me say this: and I ain't get mad at the callers, Rock T. If it's your daughter, how would you feel? See, everybody talk all that trash, but your daughter ain't with R. Kelly, and you talk to your daughter every day. But when your daughter don't come home for 3, Griggs, talk to me. Am I right, Rock?
Your daughter don't come home for 4 years.
Come on.
It's different. And I think what people just need to understand is this is about holding him accountable for the things that he has done. The others will be held accountable. There are unindicted co-conspirators. There are others that will stand trial in the other cases. I think what people need to focus on is the fact that black women and black boys and black girls were violated, and it was proven in a court of law.
But Griggs,
that's what people need to focus on.
Griggs, but his music's so good. Let's overlook that because, damn it, his music.
You just broke it down like if people are struggling with whether they continue to listen to his music or not, according to this conviction. Just put yourself in the shoes that Rickey just described as far as if it was your daughter. What would you do if it was your daughter, and then you'll get your answer?
Right. Hey, Eva.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
So you said Mike, your husband got called. You wanted to say something about that?
No, Mike represented one of the accusers of R. Kelly, and he's intricately involved in what's kind of going on right now. He's been speaking about it on Court TV and been following the case. I'm not listening to the music. I'm like Attorney Griggs. I stopped listening a long time ago because it's all connected. Not only does he outline the things that he does, but on top of that, the money that we spend playing his music helps to fuel what he's doing.
Can you say that one more time? Can you say that one more time?
The money we spend listening to his music, buying his records, streaming him, that's the money he then uses to continue his enterprise, to continue this abuse, because it only could happen with those that assisted with money. So if we don't put money into the system, into his fuel, then he can't do what he's doing.
No, he's in the pen now because he can't do nothing.
But I don't understand how it's not hard for people to listen when the things he's saying. He wrote these songs about these girls,
Did he believe he could fly? That was about one of them.
Damn girl.
No, but this stuff was going on. You know what I'm saying? In the midst of all this stuff was going on. So when I did listen to a love song or somebody had one playing in the restaurant, it was like, oh my God, like I can't listen to a song that he wrote for Aaliyah because it's like, oh my God, that goes into my head. So I don't know how people are still listening. He is a genius when it comes to music, but it's just hard to hear.
One more thing. This whole silence R. Kelly, the whole initiative came about because the courts were not doing anything for our black girls. These girls are being taken advantage of, and no one's talking about it. And if we don't do something, if we don't care, no one else will. You don't see little black girls and black women in the news every day talking about our trials and our tribulations, but you see the white girls. So if we don't stand up for our kids, who are going to? Who's going to?
Right. Yeah. Y'all keep going to the restaurant. Keep going in there, sit down, eating those good old mashed potatoes with gravy, and the Kool-Aid is so good because they put extra sugar and real lemon juice in there, and it keeps sitting in the back of the restaurant because there's no difference. It's no difference.
Is it safe to say that he got pretty arrogant with this? As all this was going on, he was getting a little bit arrogant?
Oh, he got comfortable.
Yes, sir.
You know,
because he had a trial before, and they didn't accuse him. They let him off, and he had everyone in his
So he felt like he could get away with it, y'all. Hey, we really appreciate y'all phone because I ain't mean to cuss y'all out, but, you know, you start talking about kids, I get a little sensitive because I have daughters, and that's just crazy to me right there. You know what I'm saying? And that is just a perfect comparison and analogy or whatever. So don't you yell Black Lives Matter and whatever and racial profiling and all this kind of stuff. You know, you understand? If you sit up here talking about you support R. Kelly, you can go on with that. That's crazy to me.